Welcome back, friends, to CoffeeU. We're so glad you're here, and we're so glad to be here with you today.
Should we call them students since this?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, we're the professors,
That's
and
right.
you are the students, so you're not our friends. So we're not able to be friends with you.
Nope, not allowed.
Yes, all of the students, welcome to CoffeeU. We're glad you're here today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's a good day.
It is a good day. Who's this guy sitting to our left?
Well, we have a very specialty guest with us today, Mr. Matthew Powell, who is now joining our team, and he has several hats that he wears. He also made it so Randy's not the only member of the marketing team.
Only guy member.
Oh, gee whiz. Yes, there are other members. Yes, the women count. Sorry. Gee whiz.
It's all right.
Open foot, insert mouth.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
now
yes,
pull it up.
Noelle and Rachel, you are so very important to us, and we're glad you're on the marketing team also.
Very much.
But now there's another male on the marketing team. Welcome, Matt.
And it's also our grounds for celebration for today.
Yeah.
Matt has joined the team and sitting here out from behind the board. So
Yeah.
Glad
Matt,
to be here.
Yeah, Matt's our producer on our podcast, so I don't know who's running the board right now. It's just we're just a free-for-all
we just
here.
picked up some guy off the street. A guy named Randy. But welcome, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So, tell us about who you are, a little bit about yourself, your family, where you're from, your family tree.
Yes,
Fun stuff.
all the way back to Noah.
That's right.
Yeah, so we won't go all the way back to Noah.
Okay,
good. Okay.
So Abraham.
Yes.
No. So I was born and raised in church. My dad was a children's church pastor. My mom was a worship leader. And so I grew up on stage in the church. And so I
Like
started,
literally on the stage.
as close as you can get to that. Yeah. I was a musician, did that for a living, and then transitioned into on the other side of that and started as an audio engineer, and I would record bands, run sound for churches and live things and stuff like that, and then ended up getting into all of production and doing video and photography and all those things. And then Randy, your director of marketing, called me one day and said, "Hey, we're wanting to bring back our podcast and do some more podcasting things, and we want to hire a podcast producer. Do you know anybody?" And I said, "Well, let's talk and see what happens." And next thing you know, Nathan, you were telling me, "Okay, I'm going to send you an offer." I said, "Oh, okay." And now I'm
Yeah, I don't mess around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm here working for a coffee company, which is
Yeah. Why? That seems interesting because you don't drink coffee.
because I don't drink coffee. Yeah, so all my life I've had people push me to drink coffee, and I've tried it a few times, and just never. I've always thought I dislike it so much. I don't think I want to try it anymore. And so, but now I work for a coffee company, so I am trying it again. One of my first days here, y'all invited me to do a cupping.
We did.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience. What did you think of that?
That was a lot of fun. It's something I didn't know existed until listening to the first season of CoffeeU. I heard all about it and the process and everything. So with this cupping, you guys had 8 different sets of roasted beans that you were evaluating to try out new things. And so there's this whole scientific process where you put the grounds in cups and then you pour hot water on it to let it brew so that they're all brewed exactly the same. And so everything is equal so that you can tell the differences in the beans and you're not influenced by the different brewing techniques and that kind of things. But then there's a whole process of smelling it and scooting grounds over with beans and smelling it again and then sip a little bit. And you have to slurp it. You can't drink it. You have to slurp it so you get it all over your tongue. And this whole process. And, of course, my first reaction was, this tastes like coffee and I really don't like it. But going through all 8, even as somebody who doesn't drink coffee regularly, I was able to tell these are all coffee, but they taste incredibly different. Even the ones that were from the same country, but different things were done differently, different farms or whatever. Been able to tell the drastic differences in those beans that all look the same, and in my head they're the same, but they're completely different tasting experiences. So that was a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun.
Good. So you skipped a lot there from getting into, doing the audiovisual side of music and things to meeting this guy named Randy. So kind of talk about your experience in the audiovisual world, in the music world, and kind of how that led you to meeting Randy and then, coming on board with us. So.
Yeah, so originally I was a musician, and as a musician, you do anything and everything to be able to pay your rent.
So tell us what that means. You were a musician. I mean, there's lots of different types of musicians. What is
I
that?
don't know that. You still are a musician.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're still a musician.
Leave it behind.
You just don't get paid. You don't get paid as often to do.
Right.
That's not your main job.
I get paid for other things more often than I get paid for that. Yeah. So mostly I played guitar. Now I've moved to the dark side of bass players.
Oh wow.
So
dark side. Huh?
I get sent bass player jokes all the time.
Not by Randy though.
So what do you do when a bass player knocks on your front door?
I don't know.
You pay him for the pizza. I guess sent those.
That had to come from Randy.
I'm sure Randy has sent me that at some point. He's not the only one to send me that. But so I was a guitarist, and so as part of one of the extra things that I did to make an income, I bought, sold, and traded music equipment all the time on Craigslist back then. And you meet all kind of sketchy people on Craigslist. And one of those people, and I was looking at my old emails. I still have the emails where I met Randy in 2011 through a Craigslist trade. I traded an amp for a pedal and some stuff.
That was one of the weird people you met off Craigslist.
He was definitely one of the sketchy guys.
Yeah.
So I met him trading then, and then a few months or maybe a year later, he emailed me about a thing I had listed on Craigslist and said, "Hey, I have this guitar pedal company. I build custom pedals. I can build you whatever pedal you want and trade it for this thing that you have." And I said, "Okay, that sounds great." And I listed off all these different things that I wanted. A boost and a fuzz pedal, and I want it to be like this. And I was very demanding to him just to see what happened. And he built everything I wanted, somehow squeezed it in this little box. And my oldest son, who at the time probably he may have been a year old. His name is Jace. So Randy, I forget what you called it, the Jace face?
Play on the fuzz face from Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, so instead of a fuzz face, it was a Jace face. And he photoshopped my 1-year-old Jace's face on Jimi Hendrix's body and used that as the artwork on the
That's
guitar
hilarious.
pedal. And it's great. I still have it 13, 14 years later. So that started a great relationship between me and Randy, where I ended up buying way more of his pedals than I should have, and we bought, sold, traded. I sold a bunch of his pedals for him, and got all these other people connected with him. He made great stuff, and then he ended up moving into marketing, and I was working with him with other things as well, and we just continued a friendship. And
That's good.
When it was in 2019, I was getting burnt out in audio world because I was doing the same thing over and over again, and I said I'm gonna start a hobby that is just for a hobby, that I'm not gonna use it for income. I'm never gonna make $1 with it. I'm gonna do it purely for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna refuse to do it for money. And so I bought this camera off Facebook Marketplace. And within a few weeks, I was already doing paid photo shoots. Randy is a fantastic photographer. And so I started using him as a mentor in photography. So I would send him these photo shoots that I did and say, "Hey, tell me what what I did well, what I didn't do well, and what can I do better. And he knows that I love brutal feedback. I want to know every little thing that I did wrong, and he did it. He tore me up and down with all the photos. Like, why'd you put that girl in a bush? And where were you focusing on this one? It was. I need to pull up some of the screenshots from that because it was brutal feedback he was giving me. But that's exactly what I wanted. And so
But also made you laugh too. I mean.
Oh yeah, I loved it, and it told me everything I needed to know to get better.
Yeah.
So I was getting much better a lot quicker than I normally would have. And my wife and I shoot together. We love shooting weddings and all those things. And so I took his feedback for a while, and I would filter it and rephrase it and tell her because she doesn't like being torn up like I do. So I would. But eventually, after a while, I would show her the feedback. And once she got used to it, now she makes jokes about it all the time.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that started a whole new thing that kind of came out of nowhere. And at the time, I worked for a church. I was the technical director at a church. And just maybe 6 months after I bought the camera, all of a sudden, we had COVID lockdowns. And everything... all my job at the church changed to where I have to learn to do video overnight. So that's when I got heavy into video. I'd done a little bit before then, but everything changed where my main job was shooting and editing video for the church. And so I developed a whole new set of skills there. And thanks to Randy and another couple of mentors that I had, really got to where I was doing well with it, and I was making things I was proud of. And then 5 years later is when Randy came to me and said, "Hey, let's do video full time," and this happened, and now I'm here.
Good.
Yay. Well, tell us about your family, Matt.
Yes, so my wife and I went to high school together.
And her name is?
Her name is Emily.
Okay.
And we started dating when I was 16 and she was 14.
Wow.
We weren't even allowed to date at that point. She especially wasn't allowed to date. So for the first 2 years that we were together, all of our dates consisted of either me going to her house and sitting in her living room and eating dinner and watching a movie with her family, or her coming over to my house and doing the same thing with my family, which was great.
Well, that's a great way to meet each other's families.
It is.
Yeah.
Get to know them, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully mine didn't scare her off too bad and hers didn't scare me off.
Good.
But we both have really great families, and so that worked out well. We got married the day before our fourth anniversary. We got married. Small family thing. It was great. And then now we have...
What year was that?
That was 2007.
Okay.
December 22nd of 2007.
Oh, wow.
Before Christmas.
Oh, wow. My anniversary is the 21st, December 21st.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. We did an outdoor wedding at her aunt's lake house.
On December 22nd?
On December 22nd. Horrible idea, but it worked out well.
Well, it's Alabama. You never know. It could have been in the
Yeah,
70s.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
And neither one of us are big, which is funny since we do wedding photography, and that's one of our favorite things to do. But we didn't want to have a wedding ourselves. So we told the preacher, hey, you've got 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
After 10 minutes, you can keep going if you want to, but we're heading out.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we had a very short ceremony. It was great. And we went and we had black cherry Kool-Aid instead of wine.
No way.
At the wedding.
That's
So
hilarious.
in our wedding pictures, we're both drinking black cherry Kool-Aid out of wine glasses,
That's funny.
which is a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've got 2 boys now, Jace and Jude. They are 13 and 8. Jace is, he wants to do everything. He's very much on the shorter side of people, and he plays the tuba.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and even though he's only in 8th grade, he's pushed hard enough that he plays tuba in the high school marching band.
Wow. Good job,
And does
Jace.
really well with it.
Very good, buddy.
He'll be out there marching and never complains about a bit of it. He also has a 3D printer and constantly 3D prints things, does all kinds of different city block parties and the Tanny Hill trade days and things like that.
Interesting.
He's everything you can think of that a 13-year-old could do, he does and more.
Wow.
Our 8-year-old wants to try everything, but once he's tried it, he's done. He wanted to play baseball like his brother. So when he was 4 or 5, he played t-ball. He got out there, and in all the practices, he did great. He was paying attention. He was the only 4-year-old out there paying attention to the coach.
Sure.
All the rest were rolling around in the
Sure.
field. He was standing by the coach, listening to every word he said. And then he gets out there in his first game, does great, and hit the ball, ran the bases, did everything he was supposed to, did great. Second game, he goes out, won't get out of the dugout. He sits in the dugout
Oh my goodness.
and refuses to leave the dugout. And every person at the baseball field is going to talk to him and say,
Trying to
"Hey, buddy,
encourage him, yeah.
your team needs you." So, but he would not leave the dugout. So, third game, he goes, same thing, won't leave the dugout. And it was the third or fourth game where I finally got him to talk. And I was like, and tell me why he wouldn't leave the dugout. And he just said, "I've already played baseball." And so,
That's right.
in his head, like, he wanted to play baseball. He played the game. And now that he's played
done.
baseball, he's done.
I wanted to end on a high note.
Yeah, so he is now retired from baseball.
Nice.
But
That's funny.
he wants to try everything at least once. With Jace, especially as a little kid, we could leave him alone and he would be perfect. Never got into trouble. Even as a little baby crawling, he could go down steps, and he was very careful, one leg at a time.
Wow.
And we would sit there and watch him go down the steps very safely. But with Jude, you have to keep an eye on him, and if you don't have your eyes on him, he's going to get into trouble. You have to watch him.
That's funny.
But everybody talks about how smart he is, and he does great in school. Thankfully, he doesn't treat his teachers like he treats us.
Okay,
But
good.
yeah, both great kids, and very good.
Well, thanks, Matt. Well, you're drinking coffee here, and you said you don't really drink. I mean, do you have any other coffee experience that you want to? If not, that's fine.
Yeah. So when I was 16,
Yeah.
working at a fast food restaurant, they were all pushing me to try coffee because all of them drank coffee, and they said, "You can have unlimited coffee here at the fast food restaurant." And so I tried it, and I said, "This is nasty." So they put cream and sugar in there, and I was like, "It still tastes like coffee. I don't want to do this." And so it was a little bit of coffee with a ton of cream and
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I still don't like this, but I love coffee flavored things.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I love like the milkshakes that are coffee flavored, and all those different type things. I love the smell of coffee beans. At one point, I would get bags of ground coffee and put them in my office under my desk and have it unsealed just enough that the aroma would fill my office. And then when I would walk into my office and not be able to smell the coffee, I would tap the bag with my foot so it pushed some more of the aroma out. And I love it. And one trick that I'm sure y'all know of, if you have a bad smell in your car or carpet or something like that, you can put ground up coffee beans on whatever is causing the bad smell, and it'll soak up the bad smell. So as a teenager, I had to do that all the time, as I would have bad smells and things
cool.
in the car or whatever. So then 10 years later or so, I was at actually a job interview at a church where they were talking about hiring me to do technical things, and they had their own coffee shop, and the guy that ran their coffee shop said, he found out that I didn't drink coffee. And he said, I'm going to make you a cup of coffee you're going to love. So he did. That was my first time ever seeing him pour over coffee.
Okay.
And he spent what felt like 20 minutes, like measuring and
Sometimes it
weighing
takes that long.
And drizzling the water over the beans and then waiting and then drizzling, the whole process. And did all of that and then handed me the cup. It's like, you're going to love this. I got to see how much you love it. And I'll take for sure. That's the worst thing I've ever tasted. I don't love your cup of coffee. It was horrible. That was up until the coffee cupping in this February or whenever it was. That was the last time I had tasted coffee. So now I'm trying to give it another shot. I'm drinking our Wonder Blend.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
That was formerly our Christmas
Our
blend,
Winter Wonder Blend,
our
yeah.
Winter Wonder Blend. So Randy brought me this cup today, and I'm nursing it as we shoot podcasts today, and it still tastes like coffee.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
I'm working really hard at it, so I can start tasting some of the notes now. I can tell all the not extra things that are in it, but the flavor notes from the farm and from the beans themselves.
So everybody, if you were unaware, our coffee tastes like coffee. Just so you know, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. And thankfully, the farmers and our roasters have done a great job of pulling the natural coffee flavors out of those seeds. So, Matt, keep trying.
Yeah, maybe one day it'll just click.
One day it will click, and you'll.
It'll still taste like coffee, but it'll be a pleasant experience. For you.
Exactly. Maybe a fruity coffee. It'd be something you like. So, but thanks for coming, bud. And we're
so glad
you're part of the team.
We're so glad you're part of the team, man. You've been a blessing to us. So thank
Very
you
glad
for
to be
everything
here.
you do.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Nathan.
Yep.
And thank you guys for joining us on CoffeeU.
We'll see you next time. Have a good one.